try to get them on carpet. All right. Cool. Sweeto. All right, so I might have it somewhere in my hand, or maybe in my pocket. We'll see. I do. I have it right here in my pocket. Okay, so let's see if these bolts actually fit the same. These are, again, they're 5/16 by 18th. But these ones aren't, so I want to double check these guys to see if they will thread in. If that's the case, I'll use these guys instead. Don't have to worry. Oh, look at that. Almost. They didn't actually go in. So some of them is because the thread diameter is not really accepting the pitch, so these guys won't work. They look like they could have worked. So these guys won't do it. Yeah, they won't. They'll get in a little bit, but they'll kill the thread. So these guys are not the same thread. Let's see if we have the nylon. That could probably pull it off. Nylons might be. These guys look like they're the same. Let's see here. Oh, they're the same 80/70 or some sort like that. Yeah, they look like they can only go, see, it hasn't even reached the nylon yet. And it's still not going any further for us. So that means, again, it's the wrong pitch. So we don't want to force that, because if you force that in there now, you'll kill the thread when it goes into the other level. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to open these guys up. So let's go and get these guys open. All right. Let's see here. I can open them all at the same time. Let's get my little razor blade. We'll open one for right now. Let's see the other one. Oh. Home Depot. Stanley brand, or Everbuilt. Stainless, 5/16. Excuse me. And they are still made in China. Alright, so let's go and get this guy open. There you go. See the difference? You can see how it goes in. Then these are 18 pitch thread. Okay, so here I'm going to screw it in. See, it screws in a lot more. The only thing that stops is the nylon, which is fine because you need to drive it in even further for the nylon not to actually stop pitching. So what we're going to do now is actually be able to drive this in, wedge it in here. But before we do that, we got to actually consider how much thread we have, because what's going to happen is this guy here, he's going to be the one that's actually holding with the washer. So let's say here, for instance, he's going to be going here. See that? See, he goes in easily. There's no force. So you can see here, he goes to the point where he can hit this. If he hits this, you got this lock issue. So we want the washer, sort of the washer space out with this, and also have enough here for its this guy's here. So we're going to see how much we can dig him deep, or we're going to find out right now actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to pre-bolt him in here and see. We're going to have to use a way to actually a socket, and we're going to drive this guy in here. So we need to stretch his hole as well. Got a few things here we got to sort of look into. I believe this is going to be the one that's patterning. You can see here one of them, oh sorry, one of them size is perfectly circle, and the other one looked like it can kind of adjust a little bit. So if that's the case, you probably want to put this guy here secure here, and then put the washer on top. But before we do that, we'll even put a washer on this guy too, just to help reinforce him. So let's see if we can find a washer that's big enough. There we go, we found it. Wasn't that hard. There we go. Much more tire washer. Here's another one. Always want to try find them in pairs, because you're gonna need it eventually again for the other next one. So I think it's still in here. This is too big. Yeah, too small for that one. I think this is the same, I think. Or it might be too loose. Yeah, so we gotta find another one just like this guy here we just found. First one's always a charm, huh? Okay, I think this is the same one. Yeah, these are probably the same. These two are the same. So let's see here. Yeah, these two are mirrors from each other. Yep, they are the same. So what we'll do is we'll put the washer in here. More preferably you want to have like a set of two of them really. So they'll clamp both sides like these. But we'll see. That because this doesn't have really much of a flange, right? So we want two of them. So we want one that's driving this side, which we're going to have to do right now by force. We're going to drive it in, spread the load. And I think when we get in here, it's much more easier. See that? I'm sorry. See this one right here? This one just threads right in, no problem. The only challenging one we have is going to be this guy right here. As soon as we get him in, we should be good. There we go. Then what we do is force him in there. Put this here to help back us up. Put one on the other side as well to help back that sucker up with the washer. These are a little bit more stronger reinforcement washer because these guys will probably rip, and they probably still will rip, but we'll find out what we can do. Let's go and get the Allen socket and drive it in. I believe it still takes the same H6, so we won't put the extension on there. We'll just pre-load it on there. There we go. Righty tighty, please. Barely tight in there. Almost look like it's not wanting to go. Stubborn. There we go. It's really stubborn. Alright, so might want to actually hook it on here now and start driving it in. So let me do that. Lift it up. I guess we can get this into this kind of position or a top position. We can't actually because this thing, totally forgot, it needs to actually stick out because the washer needs to be able to flex and bend accordingly. But we can go ahead and tighten this now. It's very tight though. Doesn't look like it has room for anything. There we go. Hopefully it's not killing the thread as in the process of doing this. What I want to do is actually get it hooked onto the other end really quickly. That will have a little bit more reinforcement. Because him on his own, he looked like he's just getting. There we go. See that? Forcing him through. Forcing him through as much as I can. It just seems like he's wanting to move away. So let me go ahead and see if I can hold him a little bit more secure. First of all, with a clamp or some sort, heavy duty. That way he doesn't really fiddle around too much. This will probably work better. And he won't scrap our paint. That's another thing we want to do. Hold him straight up. There we go. That way I can focus on driving him in first. I believe this is it. Make sure I get a good hold on them first. There we go. We just don't want him to put pressure elsewhere. It's like flexing back and forth. We don't need that. Okay, now he needs to move out a little bit because he's almost getting in. No, sorry. So there we go. I'm keeping him in first. There we go. We're not using these guys as thread, but we want to have them ready, big and open. Okay, so he's almost ready. See, he's kind of bent out of shape a little bit slightly, but as soon as he gets into the right position, he'll straighten his act up. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is when we clamp him, we're going to push him down, put another washer here. He's going to be riding from top because we need this whole thread here to be in good condition. So we'll consider doing the double stack as soon as we can see how much he can actually give us thread and flush. So we'll know exactly what's going on here. You can see there, I'm pushing it forward, moving as much as I can, bringing this guy in. He'll stabilize himself as soon as I can get him to. So he doesn't really have that much to work with until we can bend them a little bit more. And fortunately, this is not long enough either. See there? We want to bend him to our will, but he's not even bending inside to hold this guy clamp. So we might have to make another round to, before we put everything else on him, we might have to make another round to the Home Depot and get a little longer. Probably not a longer one, but something in this size, but maybe a little bit, you know, a little bit more, because he's barely wanted to close. So that would be a problem for us here in this guy. We need to get like a leather clamp on him. Okay, but in the meantime, before we do that, let's get our wires fixed and everything so we can get that squared away. Leave this to it for right now. And again, this needs to be able to socket in too as well. So this little guy here, he would have done the trick if he would just came a little bit more inward for him. So it's going to take a little bit bigger diameter than we thought. We can use a caliper to measure it, get a little bit more accurate reading than guesstimating. Okay, so this was what? I keep forgetting the size in this guy. The biggest one they had, this was 5/8, so it's bigger than 5/8, is bigger than 1/2 inch. So the actual, let's see, this is measured in millimeters, but we'll zoom it in and get into. So it's 22/48. So there goes 22/48. So we're gonna go ahead and put this down here. So it's 8/77 an inch. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a snapshot of that real quick, so we know what we're dealing with. Let's also get an inch again. Okay, so this is the size of the one we need for the bar. I don't know about doing the one on the top yet, because I think this guy right here, position wise, he might be in a good position for us, and is solidly connected to the whole frame too, so it's definitely much more better support than this add-on. So this add-on might be good, but another extra different, because if this one breaks, the third thing, and it comes with it, the whole rear part is dependent upon these two guys only. So I recommend just going with the bigger one here. It's going to bring us closer to the red one, but I think it will still clear it though, if we can get this guy properly rounded. So there we go. Might be able to get a U shape or some sort on here. Oh, let me turn this off. Good caliper. Oh, dogs are so noisy. There we go. Alright, so let's go and work on our electrical a little bit. Try to get that squared away because we need to extend it. And I got some yellow wires just because they're different. I know we do have yellow wires too, so I gotta be really careful how we're gonna attach it. But I got a feeling we can definitely still make it work. So let me go and get these guys off of here. Yeah, definitely the chrome one won't work if this guy won't work. So let's see here. Let's go and put this guy. Did we have both of these guys taken off already? Oh, great. Yeah, they came off pretty easy, huh? All right. Make sure everything else, our tools and stuff are off the ground. And put our tools in here, that way we won't mix the two up. All right, let's go and get started, see where we're at on this one. See, this guy came off, and I believe he was this guy right here. Oh, more came off actually. Oh boy. We had a picture of where it was, so we'll figure it out. These two guys need to be extended anyway. So that's what we'll do, we'll extend them. And the rest seems to be forcefully. Let's see which one. See, out of the two, it happens to be with the brake one, this guy right here. He's the one that's struggling to try to make it right with us, but unfortunately couldn't do it either. So we're gonna have to make his junction for him and then screw him back in there somehow. So let's see what's the best way we can extend him and keep a good contact between the two leads. We can make one wire straight and then maybe do a little break and then shove it in there, because these things are actually screwed by just terminal bits. So we can do it that route. Yeah, we could do it that route. Have to go back and remember my video and see how I actually had this wired. That's why I record things. And then I can put these guys back into play. As soon as this one done, we're gonna get that one squared away. So let me go and get started on deciding how we're gonna actually wire this guy up here. Let me go look back at my video, or actually some of the snapshot I took. Maybe I can get a still image somewhere I might have sent to someone. That way I can actually see which one out of these two ports these guys go into and reconnect them back properly and securely. And then we'll go from there. So I'll see you guys a little bit. Okay, so the wire is pretty much the way it is here. You can see it's going to be this one right here, the yellow and green with the solid yellow, I believe. It's going to be going to the third one here, and then the brown wire here is going to be going to the last one here. And then these guys here, the baby blue one's going to go to the second slot, and then the orange one is going to go into the first slot where available. The black wire here is just jumped into ground. So you can see there, so there's nothing really there. So it actually is correct in this kind of a stretch path. So what we're going to do is we're probably going to break that path and extend it. We might not need to actually extend the green wire here, because if you look at it, if I took in this and stretch it out further, it gives me 3-inch length. The reason why this guy won't go any further is because the blue wire is holding him back. So what we can do is, I guess we can work on extending the blue wire also. So let's go ahead and take off the blue wire. We're going to need our Phillips for this one. So let's go and get our Phillips here and unscrew this, and let's go and get started and extending the blue wire. And I believe the brown wire here, let's see where this one's going. I think the brown wire here is going to our far right. So the brown wire, he doesn't have any problem whatsoever. He's good to go where he's at. So he's fine there. And again, these kind of connection tips is mainly for us to tilt it in there. I mean, you could put some kind of little rod tip connector if you wanted to, but I think with our situation, we can just kind of tint it, once we spiral it in, just kind of tint it a little bit and then put it straight in there. So let's go and get everything ready. We're going to have to get our soldering tool. And then we're going to also need to extend it as well. So let's see if we can get a little thing to wipe our soldering tool. So there's our little Phillips here, flathead, and we just need a little 3M bushing. We always had, there we go. There we go. Look, there's even a leveler too if we ever need to level something. But there we go, our useful tool here. I've always been using to keep everything lined. We need the extension cord for the soldering. We can make this all work. Just gotta be really careful not to step behind. So we'll plug this in as soon as we get everything situated. We'll get our solder out. This is going to be so much fun. Alright, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and break the wires. We're going to have to break that blue one. So let's go ahead and extend that blue one first at the example. Hopefully we did it right. we won't have to worry about it anymore. Oh, it's almost coming loose. I'm spinning it. There you go, it wasn't that hard to actually put on. Okay, we're gonna have to rip the whole new tip. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna extend it. We're gonna keep this connector, this point here. So we need to extend this blue wire a little bit further. We could make a little weird junction of a T or something like that on there. And then this guy would actually go a little further where we need him to go. But we want to do a little cleaner install instead of having 2 or 3 junctions. So let's see what's the best route to do this. Either way, we're going to have another junction in the middle. I'm just trying to see if we can eliminate the possibility of having the junction if not needed. But we're going to have to cut this guy out. This one will come back over here to this T, which is fine. Okay, so he's going in the second slot right here. So let's go and strip him. Let's get this done quickly, so that way we can move on to the other things. Okay, let's cut this guy. Oh, careful not to cut it. Something else that we don't need to cut, right? Alright, so let's go and strip this guy. I think he's a 12 gauge. There we go. The reason why is I should have cut this guy off. See how it blocks? There's a little barricade there. So that's why it's good to cut it cleanly off first. There we go. Get our cutter tool here. Now we can pull it out. There it goes. It's a little bit tinted too. Probably don't want it tinted yet because we want to mush the wires. So here we go. Yeah. Alright, there we go. Nice. That's what happened with tinted tip. They keep a closure. Okay, yeah, we want more of that. In fact, we should actually dig a little bit more. I think we're cutting our wire too short to really work with. But again, we're giving a lot of slack to this end, so it's not a big deal. This one will make it here anyway, regardless. So we'll go ahead and get this guy prepped up ready. Let's give him enough to bound up in there. There we go. He's good to go. Okay, so here we go. This is it. This is probably where we're short 3 inches, supposedly like last time we were talking about. So stretching them out a little bit too much too, but we need to. There's no other choice. So hopefully we don't have to remove his ground one. The ground one is putting a little tension here too as well. It's like this whole wiring work here is just full of tension. So let's see how we can do this a little bit more better for the next time around. We'll have to maybe get a lot more wire perhaps shoved in there, get a little bit better hold and the little tippet. So I think we should start by doing it, but we don't have too much here. I think this is a little bit longer. This guy here is going to be a little bit longer. We're going to feed the rest of them with the yellow wire. There we go. Much longer here. At least you want to get at least half an inch. You know, if anything, half an inch of wire to work with. Okay, let's go and open our little yellow wire here, our junction. This is going to be pretty much considered our junction wire throughout the whole shebang here. All right. There you go. This is like a spool of wires coming out. So let's see how much we need here to clean this guy out. First one we're going to need, I'll just cut a little bit here and we'll just break it as we go. It's easier to hold a little bit than to hold a spool of wires, right? Okay, let's go and make this guy first. I always want to cut off some of the dead ones, you know, fresh wires like these. This is a fresh cut, this isn't. So just go and cut like, you know, an inch off just to, you know, not for good luck or anything like that, but just to make sure there's no, you know, a little bit residue or something that could cause, so it's better that way anyway. Okay, let's go ahead and make this junction here half an inch. There we go. This guy's going to be spiraled together. He's going to loop into here with this guy. The rest of them, we're going to tint him as soon as we can get them mushed together. So we can do all two kinds of mushing. We talked about we can do the split braid mushing, or they can be split. I think this guy has a little tint in him too, that's why. Let's see if I can split him. See there? He's so stuck in between. Try to rip him apart. But that solder is pretty good stuff. Okay, I got some here, some there. How about that? Then we'll split this guy too. Okay. See that how you do a little split braid. Actually, this way would not work to us too, because we need to actually go forward. So what we can do is we can do the split braid like this, right? But for the main idea is to actually tint them eventually. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab it. I'm going to tilt it like this. Okay. Now before we junction all of them, and then we're going to hit it with some solder here. This is good. See, this right here gives us a little bit more longer dagger to actually get in there and work it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to prepare him for his heat shrink. So let's go and do that. Since he's blue, we'll try to get blue if not available. Hopefully it's a smaller size. Fortunately, it's only the bigger one. So we'll probably have to make do with what we got. Let's go with sort of red, I guess. Red or more black is neutral, I guess. Let's see here. We got black here as well. So we can prepare to put in both sides. This one's going to take the same junction as the other one here. We're just going to solder them. We're not going to use that special. Well, we might. We'll see. That little heat shrink tool there. But we're already tinting this already. So let's go and put this guy in here. Prepare for him to come around back when we're ready. Stretch him all the way back. Let's go and tint this now before it changes the mind. Okay, tinting a solder is more simpler because it's actually just doesn't really. Oh, you still want to get the wire hot though, because you want the wire to really feel the solder being bent in. There we go. Get the coil bound. It's going to take a little bit of time. Give it some time. You'll see it when it's hot. All of a sudden, anything you touch, you start seeing a little bit of mist of smoke. Clean your tip. I just need a Scotch-Brite for everything. Might need to wait for it to get warmed up first. Make sure your other extension cord is plugged into the wall. That would be a good point. So let's wait for this guy here to get hot enough. I'm almost smelling him get hot. Almost. We'll do one by one, that way we can see where things are flowing. Okay, so you always want to make sure you come from underneath. The idea is to get the wires hot and not have a cold solder build up. Let's see if I can get a resolution there for you. There we go. Okay. Coming from underneath, you can, let's say, tint the tip as well of your solder. See that, but still you can see it's not even hot enough to do anything. It will. As soon as this in, we're gonna just glaze it over. I'm ready for it. First time I'm actually ready before the solder is ready. The tip is not the cleanest. Now we couldn't do this with a torch, of course, because the flame alone will kill it. I mean, it'll kill the insulator really fast. There you go. You can see a little smoke coming out. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can get a little bit tint on our solder. Just want this to bound. Putting pressure. I'm putting pressure. You can see there, it's not hot enough where it's melting the wire from the solder. But if I touch the solder directly, it will definitely melt the solder. But we want it to melt through the wire. So you can see here, kind of inclining it. There goes our resolution now. There we go. If I put this right here, I'm tinting the tinting them, but sometimes you want to tint the solder tip too, just to get a nice coating. Then you want to wipe. There you go. As you can see, I'm coming from opposite direction. I'm using the solder almost like a chopstick to pick up the wires. It's not one of those good solder where it can set a certain high temperature for you. So, just have to be a little bit more patient with this one. What I could do is hold the wires too, just get a little bit more firmer grip. So there we go. Just kind of hold it there. There you go. See that? There we're doing just tinting a little bit. The screws will eventually screw in. The wire is super hot. I could feel even hot an inch away. Surprised the heat shrink hasn't really shrinking it. There we go. Just working that area, trying to get this nice little tint. There we go. That's what we want. See there? That's it. We'll put this here. Just gotta be careful not to step on it. There we go. Put that right there. Trying to make sure it doesn't touch too much the fiber when you don't need it to. There we go. But yeah, you can see there, it's a nice little solder that's heated into the threads. This is what we want. This is the connection we want. And we could probably do the same thing for the other guy too. So let's go ahead, and this one's going to be junction back into here. And it'll be like right there. And we can prepare the heat shrink. Probably shrink the heat shrink like somewhere right here or something like that. We can fire up the heat shrink. let's go ahead and do that. Probably want to maybe cover most of the insulator, really. There we go. Just cover most of the insulator. Really quickly. There we go. Nice. A little fast. Okay, there we go. We got one good connection here. We can poke it back in. That way we don't lose this place. Let's go ahead and get a Phillips. Or, sorry, flathead. Where is that flathead? Fly it out, right? It's the golden one. The golden chosen one. Where are you, the chosen one? Got my solder here. Oh, there he is. Look, he fell right through. Okay, so let's go ahead and screw this guy back in. And then we're going to do a measurement. How much slack we really need for him. These guys here could be lifted up a little bit. So we don't really want to crisscross anything, so we'll try not to. But sort of can't help it because he needs to get back to the blue one here. So we can go underneath this guy a little bit and try to do it neatly still at the same time. Okay, so make sure this guy lets you go all the way in. There you go. The more leads we can get him in there, the better. Okay. And you don't want to get any of his what do you call that? You don't want to get any of his heat shrink or anything gripping it, because you just want to get the solid lead. So let's go and tighten him back in, and he should stay in place. Put a little back pressure there. There we go. There we go. He's got a good solid connection now. Alright, so we're working on extending him, so hopefully this is enough slack for him. But we'll find out. We'll find out this green wire. We don't want anything wrong with the green wire, so we'll get this guy here. This is where we're going to probably solder this guy. So we'll cut him accordingly to where he's going to be extended the maximum as possible. I think this is probably right here where it'll probably be okay, 3 inches away. Okay, so we'll cut like right there. Okay, so this is about 3 inches. Hopefully it's not going to be short again. Then we got, once, that's okay because we have to take it off, and one more time we can hopefully not have to redo it, but if we do have to, then we'll figure it out. Okay, so let's go ahead and pair these guys. Okay, they're gonna meet right here. Okay, do the same thing. Probably gonna mush these. You know what? I am getting a little bit lazy, so let me go ahead and try to get this guy here. We'll use this one. And I believe these might fit or not. We'll find out. If not, then we'll have to do the old-fashioned way. We'll try to go with the red one. But I think one of them is smaller than the other, but I think they're both the same thick gauge wire, so they might not. We're going to do the mash. But before we do the mash, before we do the monster mash, let's repair our... We're probably going to have to give them a straight up black wire all the way through. Okay, but we want to make sure. Let's go and put him in here to get him protected for a second. Now that we give him a little extension there he was looking for. See if these guys will fit. Now I don't want to bound these up or anything like that. This one's, I'm assuming it's going to be smaller than the yellow gauge wire. I'm assuming, but we'll see once we get them in there. Now again, we can put some dielectric grease, which always helps us anyway with getting these guys in there. So let's bring our dielectric grease. Where are you, dielectric? There we go. Also good for it anyway. I almost feel like I'm putting silicone. I'm almost kind of freaked out a little bit. Is this silicone or is that dielectric grease? Trying not to get my hands dirty. There we go. Some of the plastic too, so it can slide easily. A lot of bushings here. A little bit extra thread still, not one of the hard to see them all, you know. There we go. Look at that. Slides so freaking easy. Alright, we'll draw them all the way to the other side of it, because we need to mash them. Ready? I'm not sure we should have mashed them when they're in there first, right? But I think this is still the same bet here. We just play around with twisting them. We won't twist them until they're in there, but same time, there we go. There we go. Then we can mash them a little bit more. Get a really good connection there. The thing with this one is you want to meet them both in the middle, because that's where the solder is going to melt. And speaking of which, let's get ready to fire this guy up. Get any other extra wires out of the way when you do this. Just want to focus on this one wire. There we go. I guess that electric grease is not that flammable as I thought. But you don't want to do any pulling either. Just let the solder here do all the work. See how the solder is spreading? Then you can go and go after these guys. It's a little water sealed. There we go. Very nice. If you do it too long, it's going to start burning the seal. So you got to be, see that? That goo of the seal's coming out. Sorry. Can you see that? The goo of the seal's coming out. That's okay, because that's what we were worried about. So we can peel it off. Because, okay, so you can see here the solder did a great job getting a little bit better than doing this guy here. But this is definitely a good seal. Don't want to tug it yet, but you can see here. Very nice. So a little dielectric grease, let lubricate in there. You know, so much worth it. And this guy, he's not going anywhere. It's a pretty damn good seal. And then we can bring this heat shrink to cover the ugliness if we need to back. So, and goodfully it's in the right direction, it's aesthetically right. Knowing me, I probably would take it off just because the heat shrink is not, you know, aesthetically right. But that's okay. Alright, so here we go. So this guy right here, he's going to get all the slack he needs to go over like this. To make to the side, you can see he's dragging. So he's bringing in about 3 inches what he could have had last time. So this might be the only thing he needs to change, this guy here. So let's get our heat shrink ready. And we need to adjust this heat shrink accordingly. There we go. And let's fire up the heat shrink as well. Cover up our, actually it looks really good, but let's go and get some heat shrink in there. Just get it all over with correctly. Nice, there we go. I think maybe the nice cool weather and everything else kind of gave us a good play. So you can see there, nice heat shrink. That one's done. Fairly cool. Good job on that one. That was an easy solder work. I think the only thing we're going to have to do is try and tint all these tips here. And again, let's go and start now with the... Again, we don't have to worry about the left turn signal because that's been extended already for us. We just got to go and extend these two guys right here. So we got to break them like we did to this guy right here. So let's go and start the next one. Same way. We're going to break it. And then we're going to put the yellow wire junction, which is fine. This is actually yellow wire too. So for once it kind of matches on this one. Okay, let me go ahead and get my cutter. Where's the cutter? Where's the cutter? Where is all my tools here? Huh? Found it. I had it here. Oh well, I got the needle nose plier. Use that to cut it. No big deal. Okay, so this is, we don't want to take too much off of this side, but we don't want to get any of that soldering either because we need to we need to combine his thread, but this one we can cut off. We can cut off much as we want on this one because he's going to be junction. We'll just still cut off shortly, just be conservative. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this again. We'll give this about 1/2 inch. I believe it's probably, hopefully it has 1/2 inch. There we go. I won't spiral them yet. Okay, so we're extending this guy. I don't think we need to extend him much. He probably just needs 1 inch and he'll be happy. He'll be a happy camper. So let's go ahead and this one we're gonna do the same thing. There we go. We're not gonna do anything to the thread. Okay, let's find a little piece of yellow wire. Did we use it all up already? That little short piece? Or we put it back here. There we go. So this guy right here will serve the purpose of fixing this wire here. This, you know, we just need really much an inch. I think 1 inch will do just justice here for this rear one. So let's cut these guys perfectly in half, and we'll just give them this much slack for both of them and be done with. There we go. 1 inch for the brown one, 1 inch for the green, and the inch for the brown. Almost you could say almost about 1.5 inches, maybe almost close to 2 inches. So I think that should be enough. It wasn't really much of a strain on the tail brake light, but he was kind of feeling a little bit. All right, so let's do this guy again. Give him plenty, 1/2 inch at least. When you get closer here, look at the threads kind of robbing you from the other end too, so you gotta be a little bit careful now. Cool, we got that there. Okay, let's go and get ready for our heat shrink. We'll just use black. Black seems like a pretty good universal. We'll get the other half here because we only want to use half. Okay, so what we're going to do is prepare to mush this guy together. He's probably going to have to go underneath this guy. So this one's done. Let's set this one aside. And let's prepare the junction, this one. Try not to tug on these wires too much because they're still pretty damn sensitive. So see if I can clamp them here just for clamping them. Or just kind of help them hold. Okay, so there we go. We're going to piggyback this guy. See, he doesn't have that much thread. Try to split the thread evenly if you can. Just kind of create a more even hook. So we're going to do a sort of a ponytail 2 ponytails back to back, braid it together. That's what we're gonna do. You can see this one, probably the reason why he didn't want to split off easily, because he still had some solder on his tip there. Alright, so there we go. We got a few threads here to the left, a few threads to the right, which is fine. Let's go and thread this guy here. A few thread to the left, a few thread to the right. This guy has a lot more thread though, and he's a little bit stiffer. Yeah, these are quality wires. Oh, I should put the heat shrink in there, so sorry. That's okay, we can still do it. Let's just kind of wound them up a little bit for a second. Put this heat shrink to prepare. We'll put them in the longest one that has it. That way the heat doesn't interfere. In fact, you know what? We don't have to